What's bracking, guys? Welcome to this FIFA 21 career mode gameplay video. So basically I'll be showing some of the huge issues with the AI this year when it comes to kind of marking midfielders not tracking back and stuff like that. And really it all comes down to the game being geared towards Ultimate Team and just kind of this whole wannabe esports thing with a 11, it just doesn't make sense to try to make FUT esports because I think the only esports possibility there really is and would be with pro clubs, but seems like they're not really keen on that. And you can just see the lack of marking from the midfielders. You can see initially they engage with one of my guys, then you can see both midfielders standing there, not tracking back. It's a 4v2. The marking is just absolutely terrible from not only the defenders, but the midfielders not helping out whatsoever. This is, 6v2 essentially in the middle there, and I somehow am able to create a chance and score that chance. That's just something that shouldn't be happening, but it's all over FIFA this year. I have to give a shout out to Kevin Groves on Operation Sports and Matt 10, who really were the first people to point this out to me, because in general, I think career mode has improved so much this year when it comes to actual just the mode itself. It's fun, the development plans, and you got the having to balance the training, rest, and recovery and stuff like that. I feel like that has really changed things, along with kind of the sharpness and stuff like that. It brings a lot more to career mode itself, but when the AI is just dreadful like this, there's not much you can do. And of course, I remember it was in 19 was when really the complaints started, because your AI defenders were actually tracking runs and blocking and stuff like that, and that's what pissed off FUT players, because they tried to create a skill gap these last few FIFAs, and this is the skill gap, having midfielders just stand there, not close down. It's terrible. I mean, that's the only reason this goal happens. One of the midfielders had an easy opportunity to cut that passing lane out, but he didn't do it. He said they just kind of gallop around there, just stand there, do nothing. And it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, obviously, I'm playing with terrible players in this. This is for my D career mode challenge, and the players are terrible. But it happens with 90 rated players, 60 rated players. Doesn't matter. This is something that just happens because the AI is terrible for both the CPU and human. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you're not controlling the player, your midfielders are not going to mark the runs. And defenders also just really split and just do really stupid things, like marking-wise. We'll get into a couple other examples here I have for you guys. But yeah, I just don't know why it's like this. I wish there was something that could happen to fix things. But again, right here, I have a midfielder who could have cut out that passing lane, but my defenders are just absolutely doing nothing. You can see that midfielder just standing right there doing nothing. He can absolutely get between that pass and cut that pass out. Instead, he just stands there. My defense is already split terribly because it's like an awful mix, I guess, of zonal and man marking, and just no one really is doing anything, and so I give up a goal there. It's just stuff that easily could be prevented. I don't know how people who play Ultimate Team can play this game at the moment, because if you're playing, whether you're playing FUT by yourself or career mode by yourself, it's not possible to control 11 people like that at such a high level with midfielders who are essentially doing nothing. And now you can see the defense being split and just no clue what they're doing. In some cases, I remember but in general, like the past few FIFAs, if you play a two-striker formation, especially stuff like this happens, the defenders just don't know what to do. They don't know how to mark. That's why I usually would play actually just like a 4-2-3 and a 4-3-3 in career mode. If we need a goal, I could switch to 4-1-2-1-2 or something. I'll get an easy goal, because stuff like this happens with the center backs. They get split. I mean, the fullback could just tuck in and help cut out this cut out this 1v1. And also, there's a big issue with acceleration, sprint speed discrepancy. I think that actually you really need to make sure you up the CPU acceleration sprint speed, because that's Simon Cox. He's like 60 pace. He's old as hell, and he's getting in behind that defense. It made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And there's other just stuff like the way they play. They just every team is now not crossing and stuff like that. And I mean, you can see it right here. These players just go out to the wing. It's actually really easy to defend at one point also. Once you learn that once they go to the wing, they're not going to cross. All you have to do is just jockey and they'll run into you, and you either win the ball or usually cause a goal kick or corner kick, depending on who gets the last touch. I mean, that's pretty much what happened right here. I didn't really know how to defend it at first. I thought they would maybe actually cross the ball, but pretty much was all they do is just almost really do nothing. There's also little to no fouls in the game, which is a bit frustrating in seeing this. You can, if you hold LT and you're the human, you won't get called for a foul whatsoever, even if you're actually bumbling over a player. And then that means also the CPU can bumble over you, not get called for anything. That's clearly a foul. The man went right through me for that ball, but nothing was called. So, yeah, it's just a huge frustration for a career mode player, because I actually think the general passing is a lot better. I feel like passing attributes actually matter. Still some really weird ball physics, but passing attributes seem to actually matter a lot more. You're not going to be able to pass just make incredible passes with awful players like you really could before. So that's kind of a nice little change in essence. But other than that, I mean, I think you can really see with all of those highlights from before. This is kind of general gameplay. There's nothing really so I just want to keep ranting because pretty much EA tried to create a skill gap and has made things terrible for career mode players. Anyone who plays offline, it's just awful, because you split through the defense like nothing, or they split through your defense. I mean, it's not fun to have this type of gameplay, in my opinion. Of course, they don't cross. They're easy to defend on the wing once you learn what they're going to do, which is basically not cross. Just look for inside passes. So all you got to do is cut out the inside pass, and it makes things just no variety and no fun for me personally. I would like to be able to come up against a variety of play styles and stuff like that. But that's the state of the game for you. Hopefully things do change. And I really haven't seen any big career mode YouTubers say too much about this game and this gameplay issue, stuff like that, other than guys in the Operation Sports community and a few other people I've seen on Twitter have talked about the issues with this game when it comes to the AI marking midfielders not tracking back, stuff like that. And big shout out to those guys. Make sure you follow them at 10. Make sure you look up some of the Operation Sports review by Kevin Groves was really good, as he talked about a lot of the issues from the game, and like I said, they really made me realize some initial issues, because of course I do think the mechanics are good for the most part, other than just these AI issues. A lot of good improvements to the game in general, to the mode in general, but just at times this really makes the game unplayable again, and that's sad, because I thought we really had something on our hands. But shout out to these esports aspirations by EA. And it's never going to be a good esport in my opinion. I just don't think that having to control 11 players versus 11 players is ever going to make for a good esport. It's all about pro clubs, in my opinion, if they genuinely have those aspirations, especially as long as they're going to be neglecting AI. And FUT players are going to want terrible AI. It's never going to be a good esport. But with that, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great week. I love you all. Hit that like button. I'll be signing out now, and I'll catch you guys later.